Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Glossy Philosophy. My name is Jansen Binman. Make sure that you are subscribed to this channel. Give this video a thumbs up because today we are doing a travel wardrobe makeup look and talking about lots of tips and tricks for doing your makeup while on vacation, especially with little ones, so stay tuned. I've already washed my face and done my skincare, so let's get started with the tutorial. First, we are going on vacation, so we need some kind of a sunscreen. I'm using the Charlotte Tilbury Invisible UV Flawless Primer, and it is just magnificent. It really works well with drier skin types, and you just work it in like a regular primer, and it just melts into the skin. It has a really nice slip to it as well, so it works really nicely underneath foundation. And when I'm doing this, I kind of like to just give myself a little bit of a face massage, especially if this is the first day after the plane, because travel is really hard on the body and it's really hard on our skin. I always wake up so dry no matter how much water I'm drinking, and it's just good to get the blood flowing in the skin, especially around this area and around our eyes. So just take a moment and give yourself a little bit of a massage and just take a breath. Now that that's done, we can move on to neutralizing the face. So I'm going to take my corrector and just gently bounce my finger underneath my eye and into that little corner pocket as well, because again, I'm probably a little dehydrated from the plane ride. So just making sure that everything is getting concealed the way that I want to, so I can show up for my family the way that I want to. I also want to neutralize my eyelid skin because it's probably showing a little bit of veins that are happening. So I'm going to take my ring finger one more time and just neutralize that with the NARS primer. So this not only will grip onto the eyeshadows and help them to last all day, it also neutralizes anything that's kind of peeking through. When you go on vacation, it's really nice to have basically a makeup wardrobe. You don't want to bring too much because your products might break, you might lose something, but you want to make sure that you have enough. So I'm going to do a look that I've been doing quite a bit, and it's going to be something I feel really comfortable in, and that's also going to go with what I'm actually wearing. I'm going to start with one of Victoria Beckham's eyewear cream shadows, and this one is in caramel, and I'm just going to place that all over the lid. I've experimented with taking my finger and placing it on the lid and then actually just taking it straight from the bullet, and I think both ways work really nicely. You get a little bit less product if you go straight from the finger, whereas you get a little bit more impact if you take it straight from the bullet. So we're just going to bring that all the way up to the crease, into the socket, and just lift just a little bit. And then I'm going to take my finger and just really lightly kind of bounce and blend out any corners, because I don't want any corners happening. I want my eyes to be the focus, especially the upper half of my eyes, because I'm probably going to be drinking and doing lots of talking during a vacation. So I think having the eyes be the focus for a majority of the time that I'm on vacation is a great way to go. This is also a very easy and super fast makeup application, which is great because you're in a hotel room with little ones and they want to go, they want to get going, and they don't want to stay in the room. So it's really important that you get your makeup done very quickly and very efficiently. So now we have our base coat down. Now what I like to do is go back in with the eyewear and just add a little bit extra on that outer corner, just to amp that up a little bit. So same thing on the other side. And then I'm going to go back in with a little bit of powder later, but now my sunscreen has kind of sunken in and I can go into the complexion part. Now I'm going to take my concealer, and instead of just going for it, I'm going to put this just a little bit on my ring finger again. I've already wiped it down onto a towel that I have. I'm going to split it. I'm really gently, again, just kind of tapping underneath that eye area. Usually when I fly, my under eye area gets a little puffy, so just really, really lightly tapping. Be gentle with your skin, especially after that first flight. And then you can start to just really gently blend that out. But already you can see the makeup kind of coming together, and how fast is that? So then I'm going to take my foundation, just one pump. I don't need too much. I'm going to take my brush after my dots, and I'm just going to quickly blend that out. Bounce where I need to and blend out. My forehead is always last because I have the least amount of discoloration. I also have fine lines up there, and I want to make sure I'm not putting a lot of makeup in that area. So I'm going to take anything extra that I have and just bounce my brush wherever I feel like I need a little extra coverage, or where there are any lines. We don't want any lines, we just want it to look like so youthful and so fresh for our wonderful day that we're going to be having. And then we're going to move on to brows. Because we've already done our eyes, we want to make sure that the brows are supporting the eyes, what the eye look is. So very quickly, just kind of filling in where there are any gaps using the Ash Brown Brow Definer from ANASTASIA, and then quickly combing through. Same thing on the other side, anywhere where there's a little bit of a gap. I'm going in the same direction as my brow hair is growing naturally, and I'm barely touching the skin because brow pencils are usually pretty potent, right? So we don't need to press very hard. We're just lightly tapping and dragging on the skin to create basically false hair, and then combing through wherever there's a little bit too much product. This is a great product because it really does listen to the pressure that you're putting on the skin and also to the brush. So if you do go a little overboard, it is very easily forgiven. I'm going to go in with my powder. So I'm going to use the Hourglass if it's not super, super hot where I'm going. If it's really, really hot, then I'm going to use something like the Chanel powder or something a little bit more mattifying, something a little bit hardier. But if I'm just going somewhere where it's like 70 to 80 degrees, then the Hourglass is going to work just fine for me. If I need to do a double powder, that is totally fine. And again, I'm going to use a really fluffy brush. I'm not bringing all of my brushes with me on vacation because I want to be strategic. There's just only so much room in a carry-on, and my family really likes to kind of downsize as much as possible so that really the airport experience is as good as it can possibly be. So just taking away a little bit of that initial shine. Now we're going to go back into the eyes, and I'm going to do a little bit of tight lining with my Kajal liner. And just amping up that lash line a little bit. Now I'm going to go in with my Stila because I want it to stay all day, just like the name says. So I'm going to do a little kitten wing, and then I'm going to fill in with either powder or I'm going to go back in with my Kajal. So just following my lash line and following that waterline. And it just gives your eye a little bit of a lift, which is always kind of nice. And then I'm going to do just a really thin line right along the lashes. Nothing too graphic. I just want a little bit of separation between the whites of my eyes and what's going on my lid. So same thing on the other side. And that is plenty. So again, I can either go in with my angle brush, which is exactly what I'm going to do, into my eyeshadow palette, because otherwise I'm bringing along another option for an eyeliner that I probably don't need. So I'm going in with the two darkest shades of the Cinnabar palette, and I'm just going to soften that line a little bit with powder. I'm already bringing along this eyeshadow palette, so why not use it in multiple ways? But I don't need to bring all of my eyeliners. So it's just kind of thinking through your makeup routines and replacing where you can so that your makeup bag doesn't end up exploding, which I have absolutely done. I used to bring a good majority of my makeup. I just couldn't decide what I wanted to look like on a daily basis. But if you watched my styling video on Wednesday, if you really pare down your colors, then your makeup becomes so much easier to figure out. So now we're going to go into the Cinnabar palette and amp up the eyes just a smidge. So 201 into that lightest shade of the Cinnabar palette and just kind of amp up that crease, because again, I do want my eyes to be the focus. And right now they could kind of go either way. They could kind of take a back seat to a lip, or they could get amped up a little bit. Now this is the beginning of the day, so I don't want to go too crazy, but I do want that crease to just pop a little bit more. So again, it's just lifting the whole face. So then I'm going to take my 217 and I'm going in with that kind of medium shade. It's Old Ochre and a little bit of that lighter shade. And just bringing that right up into the socket, just above the socket really, with your eyes really relaxed. And it just plays very nicely with that cream shadow that we just put down. When you want a really lifted eye, you want to leave the underside alone. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm just going to leave it alone. I'm going to do my mascara. I have my two Tarte samples again. I'm going to start with the fiber one first. I've found, kind of playing around with which one goes first, that this one gives me a little bit more length first, and then I can amp up that length with the pink one. So this, for me, is a better way rather than reverse, which is what I did in my Emma Stone video. But maybe for you, it's the opposite. So it's a good idea to just kind of mix it up with your mascaras. I also forgot that Tarte makes a primer as well, which I'm very interested to try out because I'm having really good luck with these mascaras. I do love a mascara mini, especially for travel, because again, like, it's just not taking up very much space. It's not an outrageous price like sometimes the smaller travel size skincare items are. You spend a ton of money on these mini sizes. So sometimes it's nice when you can find a mini size that doesn't eat up your whole bank account. Going in with the pink and really getting into the roots with this one, because that's where you're gonna get the most volume. And then really, really lightly tapping on that lower lash line just so it has a little bit of definition. Now we're ready to finish off the look with blush, lips, and bronzer. So I'm going to do my lips first. This is Delilah. It's just the most beautiful kind of purpley pink. And then I'm going to do this on my cheeks. It does get a little sticky, but it's a great way, again, to just kind of pare down your products. And also, you always have a blush. You could bring a couple different glosses and then just use those as your blush. Plus, it just makes everything, like, you already know it's going to talk well with your lips. And it's a great makeup look is when your lips and your cheeks talk to each other. It's just like one of those golden rules. And you can always kind of pare it down a little bit with your foundation brush. Go back in and make sure it's not, you know, eating your face. But you could bring a couple different blushes for a couple different looks if you wanted a peach or pink look and then you wanted something a little bit on the pinky side. So now I'm going to go in with my bronzer and then we are done. So bronzer brush and just going under that cheekbone and sweeping up onto the cheek. Just really, really long ovals. A little bit on the forehead. I'm not trying to fool anyone, but I do want a little definition. And that is the finished makeup look. Thank you guys so much for watching this. It's almost like a travel makeup wardrobe. So you want to pick 1 or 2 looks that you feel very comfortable, very confident with, that you can get done very quickly. For me, things that I can use my hands a little bit more so I don't have to bring as many brushes. Creams are always going to win out over powders when I'm traveling. I do fashion videos every Wednesday, beauty videos every Friday. Make sure that you are following me on Shorts and watching Instagram for more tips to make your life a little bit easier and a little bit more glossy. And I will see you soon. Bye.